Morning. It is the 25th of January 2021. Can you believe that? It feels so weird to have transitioned from 2020 to 21. Like, I reckon by the time we get to 25, it's going to feel like the future. Right now, it just feels like this big, massive years just like blurting into one. It is just after 11:30, just before lunchtime on a Monday. Fresh week energy. Even though I did get up late, I was like a hermit bug last night. I was so warm. I went to bed eventually around midnight and then woke up around 10 a.m. this morning and just didn't want to get out of bed. It was so warm. I was like onesie inside of duvet, inside of heat, and it was like -4 or 5, which is kind of a big deal here for the UK. We don't get like temperatures like that really, but I was warm. I was so warm. And so I'm trying to get going this morning. I wanted to do a little video about a few things actually. First one, I've found this after ages and ages, which is a little clamp that I used to use on location when I used to do different streaming venues, that you can just clamp onto anything. It's got like a 5 3/4 thing on it, and I'd missed it. I'd wondered where I'd put it. These are great because they're dead cheap. They're about £6 or £7, and you can like move this little thing, like your adapter, and you can just lock it off, and then you just clamp that on and put your camera on top of it. And I found it again this morning, so it's dead useful. Another thing I wanted to say is that Raspberry Pi 400, I didn't realize it, but in that desktop kit, it comes with a beginner's guide book, which is freaking awesome. So I've had a quick look through this, and I think it's going to be simple enough for my daughter to understand this, to actually step through and learn how to do some programming with Scratch, which is the MIT, the Boston, brain center over there. They came up with it like a UI, like a GUI for a programming language, and you can kind of just like do steps, and then it builds the code around it. So you can, start off learning on that kind of scale. But there's a whole bunch of stuff in here, how to link up your Pi so that you can do LED stuff and all that. So I'm kind of pumped about this, because it means that whatever I get going with that unit, for around £100, I could probably set her up a desktop machine that she can use to learn how to program, learn how to code some stuff, and also have a desktop machine for just browsing and learn about ARM technology. But the thing I really want to talk about today is this thing, because I did a little TikTok about it, but I wanted to do a bit of a longer form of video. And the reason why I'm bringing this up today is, I don't know why, but this morning I was just thinking, wouldn't it be cool if a decentralized video hosting project like dtube, or it could be SIA, it could be anybody, it could be any of these blockchains, wouldn't it be cool if there was a blockchain out there that decided to do kind of a decentralized crowdfunding site? Now, we used to have one with Steam. I forget what it was called now, but we used to have like this Kickstarter-esque kind of platform, and it was really, really cool, and you could like put up like things that you wanted to raise money for. But I don't know of any decentralized project that's doing like video hosting or video streaming or IPFS stuff that has crowdfunded or crowdsourced to build their own open source platform. How cool would it be to have something similar to this? Now, I'll tell you about this in a minute. Something similar to this for dtube. Imagine having a box, or a set-top box, a Raspberry Pi, or a screen, or a little box that you could send to your grandparents, or you can send to your partner, or you could send to your parents, your loved ones, family members, I don't know, a local sports center, like just a box or a screen that you can put on the wall, and you subscribe to certain users. So it might be just like, I don't know, let's take somebody like Tip Fox. Tip Fox sends one to their parents, and all of his videos that come out automatically show up on this thing the next day. And the thing about Instacube that I really love the idea behind was, what was so smart about it at the time, and the reason why I went in on the Kickstarter project and actually ended up buying 2 boxes, is one, I love the aesthetics of the box. They had all the retro colouring, the red, the yellow, the green, the blue, and then they had this like beigey colour. You can't really see it from here, and that's the other one. This is just the white one. But what I really liked about it is that back then on Instagram, it was 4x3. So they had this like really nice 4x3 panel. And I'll quickly show you the insides of this box. I did a little TikTok about it because I learned a lot about Kickstarter in terms of what goes wrong with Kickstarters and why they take so long and all the issues that happen with trying to build something like this. It's very difficult to build something like this. So that's what it looks like. It's kind of like a little unit with a 4x3 screen in it. This screen is terrible. It absolutely sucks. It's terrible. The resolution is terrible. So like for a project which is about video and pictures, you'd want the screen to be amazing. Otherwise, you're just going to get people being like so pissed. You couldn't launch this today. People will be outraged about the quality of it. So they cut a lot of corners, which was disappointing because they did raise $650,000 out of $100,000 to bring this to fruition, to bring it to life. It was really well designed. I think you could design something similar to this today in the 3D makers community. It's got like a DC power in and a microphone socket on thing. My favorite part though is the top, because they've got like a round button, they've got like a grid button which was like to bring up all the pictures, and then they've got a heart button for liking. Now imagine if we had a dtube inspired open source version of this where you could send this to a loved one and they could have it sitting on their desk, right, and they could like see your videos come through, or people that they, you know, you tell your parents to subscribe to, these are great things to watch or whatever, or they can go and look through it themselves. And one of the things I really loved about this is that you could also assign a view to a hashtag, so you could search everything to do with, I don't know, skincare, so you could have MVD stuff on here as well, right? And what if that heart button was linked to, you know, like a tipping thing, right? So you had an account, or you sent DTC to your parents, your family members, your loved ones, and you could like send them a bunch of DTC so they could go in and they could like, you know, just random people stuff that they see pop up on their screen, and they could link it up to like either speaker system or maybe modernize it a little bit and have it as Bluetooth. But I don't know, man, this was a missed opportunity, because, you know, like originally I bought this for my studio when I had a studio in a city, in a basement. I wanted to have a whole wall of these, of things that were happening in the city of that moment. So having hashtags linked to people taking photos in and around Nottingham as like Instagram pictures, then also follow like my favorite influencers in the city, and just have this big kind of like video wall, then have a live stream actually on these boxes so people can see this like constantly evolving kind of art piece. So I was really disappointed when this failed, and I'm going to go quickly through the things why it failed. The main reason why this failed is that it took too long to ship. They wanted extra money for shipping. They didn't take into account when they took your money that actually shipping to different places around the world would have a different price. So they ended up asking us for more money to be able to ship the thing out. Then also they were like, well, you can have it now if you want it in white. Most people wanted the retro colored one, which I also have. And when it actually did turn up, the screen quality was pretty crappy, the UI was pretty crappy, and then after like 6 months of using it, things started to go wrong with the API side, because Instagram started to change their API, and obviously this needs to update to their back-end software, and so you need an engineer around to like be on top of any changes to do with Instagram and the API and access. And then, you know, as things happen with projects out there in the world, eventually they started locking down the API, so you could only request so many times a day, and you had to be a partner. And you know, that's the problem with technology like this, is that it goes out of date very quickly and then becomes a climate change issue, because, you know, it's plastic, so like I'm not going to be able to like recycle this. Ideally what I want to be able to do is it should be open source, and it should be fully accessible, and it should be totally hackable from the start, so that when things like this happen, you can repurpose it. I would love to have this as like a dtube screen, like feeding like videos to it. That's another thing about this, by the way. It did video playback as well as just the images, so I thought that was pretty cool. Things I would change with this is the design of the actual look of it was pretty cool. I would change the screen so it's absolutely the best screen I can get, like high resolution. Some kind of open source so that you could change those API endpoints, totally hackable open source kind of thing. I would love to have things like the price of DTC on here. You know, you could actually create a whole little mini world of applications, remote applications, so that people not coming to the dtube website could actually have this on the sideboard and see, you know, get a notification in the morning that you've got 5 videos waiting for you. Or I could send, I don't know, like dtube kind of clips to it, so I could actually send, like, I don't know, just I think there's something in that. I think there is something in about a decentralized platform like Sia or dtube or something to do with IPFS, where we can make a open source box that people can 3D print the outsides. They can maybe put a little Raspberry Pi 4 in there and build a operating system that is something that we could all contribute towards, and then we can like build these and send them to people around the globe, onboarding like our favorite people without them having to touch the computer or get involved with the community as such, you know, comments and finding things. Just have this box so they can see it out of the corner of their eye in the morning and see the content running on it. Anyway, I just wanted to share that this morning. It caught my eye again this morning, that box, and I was just like, I must talk about that at some point. All right, I'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye.